What's up, psychedelic investors? My name's James, and you're watching The Psychedelic Investor, your number one news source for psychedelic stocks and everything MindMed. Today, we have a very special episode for you. We're going to discuss why co-founder and CEO Rahn founded MindMed. He recently discussed this at a Context 360 conference, so we're going to show you that clip and discuss it. I'm super excited for this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we're just gonna hop right into this video clip.
JR, I'd love to know how you got involved in this. Obviously, if you can, I think it's interesting for people. Everybody knows Kevin O'Leary for a number of different reasons, but not everybody knows you, JR. So can you speak to your background and how you wound up where you are today? I think it'll be fascinating for our audience.
Yeah, thanks, Guy. So really my journey to get here started with a struggle. I was a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. I worked at Uber. I went through the Y Combinator program, which is really kind of the Harvard of startups. And to the outside world, I was doing an amazing job. You know, I was at one of the fastest growing companies in the history of the world. Venture capitalists were throwing money at me, but I was struggling deeply inside. I had addiction issues. I had mental health issues. And a friend of mine basically said, look, if you don't change your ways, if you don't change your behavior, you're going to die. And we had seen a lot of our friends either die of overdoses, of suicides. And I really ultimately said, okay, I need to make a change. And another friend recommended that I consider psychedelic assisted therapy. And so that's actually using something like LSD or MDMA or psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, as a medicine inside of therapy. You're actually sitting with a therapist while this is ongoing, and you're being guided through it. So that really helped me deal with some serious problems with addiction and anxiety and depression. After I got through that, I said, this is totally crazy. Like, why aren't these medicines? Just because the 1960s and Timothy Leary happened, why hasn't the FDA actually looked at this? It doesn't make any sense to me. This really, really helped me.
So JR was a tech entrepreneur with a really bright future, but unfortunately he had personal experience with mental health issues. He struggled with addiction and depression, and these are real human issues that too many of us face. And for him, unfortunately, it got to a really dark place where terrible outcomes were feared. And at this time, he stumbled into psychedelic-assisted therapy, and it helped him. And here he realized that this could help so many more people, and that there is a solution to so many cases of mental despair, and the fact that we need companies to invest in these technologies. And since nobody else was working on this problem, he took up the mantle, and I love this. This is a company and a founder who is thinking about more than just the bottom line. He created a company with a mission to better humanity, and what's more, he has put together the pieces to accomplish this goal. It is fantastic to me that he has the personal experience with mental health issues. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not fantastic that he had these mental health issues, but it's fantastic that somebody who has these mental health issues is using their personal experience to help make the world a better place. If this works out, JR could be seen as a visionary in the future. But unfortunately, the problem JR and millions more face is only getting worse. Let's jump back into the video.
And at the same time, I'm sitting there and reading a McKinsey report that says that due to AI and automation, because all my friends' companies that are creating, self-driving cars and AI that's going to replace accountants and lawyers, and eventually Mr. Wonderfuls. I mean, we're going to have, live streamed personalities. Everyone's going to be out of a job, and 800 million people by 2030 are at risk of losing their jobs. Well, what's going to happen in that scenario? When somebody loses their job, it's an existential crisis. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a reason to get up in the morning, you basically don't have a reason to, want to continue living. And so rates of suicide go up, mental illness goes up, addiction goes up. And I just saw that and went, wow, I know what's going on in Silicon Valley. A lot of the rest of the world doesn't, but we are automating ourselves out of an existence here. And in order to be ready for that, forget concepts of universal basic income that like Elon Musk is proposing.
Hashtag Yang Gang.
And others. Let's talk about how do we have just basically a universal basic mental health. And that was really what was scaring me, was we were going to have the society that was going to be deeply sick. Well, unfortunately, all of that is really coming true. I think in the month of October, 65 million Americans were out of work, right? The jobless figures came out. COVID has exacerbated the problems here, and our entire economy is changing. We're re-automating it, and we are going to need very significant changes to how we treat mental health, because 40% of this country during COVID-19 has had a mental health incident or an addiction. That means 40% of your friends are struggling right now. 11% considered committing suicide. That's up double since the start of COVID-19. That's from a year ago statistic to now. That is really, really scary stuff. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here because I want to help heal people. And I think that psychedelics can be the catalyst to totally restructure and recalibrate how we treat mental health in America.
So here he is making a sober prediction that the mental health crisis will only get worse. Automation, sped up by the coronavirus, will deepen our crisis of identity and cause millions more people to suffer. If we do nothing now, soon we could be living in a very dark world. To reiterate a couple of the alarming stats he gave, 40% of people in the last year have had a mental health incident or have addiction, and 11% of people have considered committing suicide in the past year. This is terrifying, and it's only going to get worse. So let's just replay that last sentence that he said.
So that's why I'm here. I'm here because I want to help heal people. And I think that psychedelics can be the catalyst to totally restructure and recalibrate how we treat mental health in America.
That's why I'm here. I'm here because I want to help heal people, and I think that psychedelics can be the catalyst to totally restructure and recalibrate how we treat mental health in America. So this is the crux, both of the video and MindMed as a company. It is a company designed to solve one of the biggest systemic issues of our day. JR has experienced the despair that so many of us have, and he has a plan to alleviate it. And honestly, this clip right here is a perfect example of why I am so excited about investing in MindMed. I try to invest only in companies aiming to change the world, and MindMed and JR fit that bill completely. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel, and check out one of the videos you see on the screen now. I know you'll love them. This is James from The Psychedelic Investor. I'll see you next time.